Millennials Talk That Ish. As y'all know, I am Monet.
And I'm Nia.
And today's topic is parents, your oldest child is not your babysitter.
Yes. So please, parents, don't get offended.
Yes.
Don't be in your feelings. This is just a topic that needs to be talked about because we see it. I've experienced it, and we know what it does to people when all the responsibility is put on that oldest child.
Yes. How was your experience?
So it's weird. Like, I didn't enjoy it, but I didn't hate it. If I could go back in time, I probably wouldn't change it. For the simple fact of those are my babies, and it created like a bond with us.
Okay.
But I also feel like it played a huge part in me not wanting kids, because of having such a responsibility so young. But at the same time, it's like my mom needed help because the father wasn't active. So it was like, if I didn't help, like, who was gonna help take care of them? Who was gonna be there? But at the same time, it's like I feel like I could have had more time to be a teenager if I didn't have such a responsibility.
Okay. Did you have to babysit for like everything, or just mainly for your mom to go to work?
It was mainly for her to go to work, and she worked for the MTA at that time. And you know, her hours was crazy. She worked overnight, and she would, you know, have to do overtime all the time. And then she had worked in a nursing home, and she was the breadwinner. Mm-hmm. So since the father wasn't bringing in nothing, it's just like, well, who's gonna watch the kids? Like, you know, they gotta go to school, they gotta eat, you gotta do homework, and they got after school projects and basketball and all these things. Who's gonna take care of that role? Because she gotta bring in the money. So that's why I didn't like really, I guess you could say, complain as much until I got older, and I'm like, damn, all these people got to do this as a teenager, and I didn't really get that. And I also think that's why I started acting out a little later than most people. Like, she always tell a story about how me and Aisha pretended to be her mom, and we called like, oh, can Nia spend and I was on punishment for the whole summer. But other than that, I didn't really act out per se, but I felt like I started wanting to be like everyone, because all my friends got to be outside, and I just didn't get to be outside. And I was like, I got to be outside, but I had to be with my siblings. Like, I had to take them wherever I went. So, and then that's when I kind of like moved in with Naj my last year, because I was just like, I don't want to do this no more. And then I went away to college, because I was like, I don't want to do this no more. I want to have my own life. So.
Okay. I'm the youngest, so I don't really know how that is, but I do see it. Not even within my family and outside of my family, I see it a lot. And I feel like your situation is different from a lot of people's situations, and then similar to a lot. I feel like if it's for your parent to work, I feel like okay, because if that parent is the breadwinner and they don't work, then you can't, like, you're not gonna be living good,
versus when the parent is like just going out to party or have a social life, etc., etc. That's why I never really held it against her too much, because I'm like, she is the breadwinner, she is trying, she is the main parent. And it wasn't that he wasn't in the picture, he was in the picture, he was just a deadbeat in the picture. But at the same time, I'm like, these not my kids.
Absolutely. Absolutely, because it still plays a part.
I want to have a life. I didn't choose this life. I didn't want to do this, so I shouldn't be penalized for for you having a deadbeat. But at the same time, I mean, you know, you kind of love who you love, and when you're in a relationship for 20 plus years with a person, it's not as easy to just walk away from a human as we may tell people. Just walk away. It's not that easy sometimes.
I don't think it's fair. Like, the parents who, the mothers or fathers, because it could be either or, who have their oldest watching them, for them to go out all the time.
I agree.
I feel like if it's a sometime thing, like you always working, you're always home with the kid, because you have a young child plus an older one, and you're always there. You help them with everything. To want to go out once in a while, I'm like, okay, they can babysit that once in a while. It's nothing wrong with that. But when you're constantly, when you're not coming home from work,
and
you have a teenager and a toddler or something, and that teenager is always with the toddler.
I agree.
That's when it becomes a problem. You should be coming home from work.
Right. Your child should not become that second parent.
Yeah. There's no reason why that child is constantly helping with the homework and you're not. Or every weekend having to stay home because you want to go out.
Right.
Can't go to the movies with their friends because you're going out. That's when it becomes an issue. And I don't think a lot of parents understand that.
And some just don't care.
Because I understand, I am a parent. I understand wanting to have fun.
Right. And you deserve to have fun too. But you laid down with a man to do it, and you and that man should then be taking that responsibility.
Yes.
To then look after your child. Once in a while, yeah, it's cool to babysit. You're my sibling or whatever. Yeah. But I should not be stepping into the mommy role. It's not my role.
Like I said, the not coming home from work thing, I can't stand that.
Right.
And I've had multiple people around me do it, and it's just like, how can you not come home from work knowing that you have a young child in the house?
Right.
She has homework.
Right. He
has homework. It's different things.
Right.
They need to eat dinner. I just don't understand that part. And then even going out every weekend, it's like,
especially if y'all got kids that don't listen.
Yeah. That don't even listen to their siblings.
Right. So your child only listens to you, yet you're not even the active parent. The sibling is actually the active parent. But you don't want me to discipline this child either. See, that's one thing I can say about me. My siblings never really disrespected me. Like the oldest one, me and her had tiff-taff or whatever the case may be. But it was more of an emotional thing that me and her both had to work through because it was like a displacement. So I never really faulted her for it until I had to really. I mean, I ain't gonna hold you. I did put my hands on her one and twice, but that was because she was of course feeling. But that it wasn't because of her feelings. Some of y'all put y'all kids in predicaments where they can't discipline the child, they can't do this with the child, but you always want them to have the child, and it's not their child. But if they were to speak up and say something, then they'll be deemed as disrespectful.
Yes.
How is that fair to the child? And then you wonder as they get older why they're so disassociated from people. Well, you took away their core years. So now as an adult, they're trying to refine themselves, and you wonder why they're so stunted. Are you really in the dark? Or you just don't want to know the truth, or you don't want to identify the truth?
You know what I tend to notice in those situations? The parents are normally narcissistic.
Yeah. You have these kids. You have them. So you only about self. You knew this is what life you wanted, and you chose to have kids. More than one.
Right, and I think that's what kind of blows my mind. Cause it be the parents who be having more than one kid.
Right.
That act like that, and it's like you didn't realize with the first one
that this wasn't
it, or that maybe you wanted to take some time.
Right.
Cause I'm not gonna lie, I did. I realized that. Yeah. Having my son at 20, I realized that wait a minute, let's not have another one.
Right.
This ain't what I want to do. I want to have some time. My son is now getting older, so it's like, okay, now I can do more.
Exactly. And even if you wanted to have a second, your son is older. So, and you already have that wisdom, whatever the case may be. And you don't even pawn the first one off for nobody.
Right.
So it's nothing when you ask one of us or anybody to babysit. Whenever she want it, it's cool. Because I really don't. I don't ask nobody. She's always with her son. And I'm not saying she don't need a break. Yes, every parent needs a break.
But I'm literally all day until the nighttime, because nighttime I say that's my time. Until after 10, all day from wake up to when he goes to sleep, I am with him. Right. So if I have another child, I'm not looking for him to be the babysitter. Right. Because I do know a situation where it's an 8-year age difference between the two kids, and that's where she that's the babysitter, and I just look at it like, hey, that person needs to be a teenager.
Right. Like when I do teen stuff.
When I was a teenager, I was going to the movies with my friends.
Right. You hanging out with your friends. You looking at boys.
Right.
Shit, if you like girls, you're looking at girls.
Right.
You're doing teenage activities with your friends. You getting in trouble from your parents.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me? You going through different emotional stages and y'all stumped them.
And he or she shouldn't have to take their younger sibling everywhere. Like, especially when it's that big of an age gap.
Right.
8 to 10 years is like, I gotta take my younger sibling to the movies with me and my friends? Really?
Like, dude, I can't even have a teenager conversation because this child is here. This child is here. So I gotta also remember I gotta be appropriate around you. And you a snitch, you go back and tell.
I think it mentally messes up kids.
Mm-hmm.
Cause I be looking like that, watch, and I take it from you. I be like, watch, that child is gonna leave and never come back.
That was me. I took a huge space from my family. Once I got away, I got the hell away.
Yeah.
Like I needed, even my siblings, when I first moved into my apartment, they was like, oh, we're gonna come over. I said, no, the hell yeah, nah. I need a year from y'all. A year from y'all. When I came back from school, they was so excited. Oh, my sister Alicia, she's not the old, she's the third oldest girl. So she stepped into my shoes once I left, because the oldest, and I respect her for it, was like, these are not my kids. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna live my life. Da 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 da. Me, mm-hmm. I was like, no, these are my babies. I'm gonna take care of them. That's it.
Right.
Like, and Alicia took into my role, and when I came back, he was like, oh, hell, you back, thank God. And I was like, oh, no, baby. I wasn't even home a full year before I got my apartment.
At all. I think he was home for maybe like 3-4 months.
And I got my apartment, and actually, I got this apartment. We moved in, and then me and her went to Mexico. That's legit how it went. Literally, I wasn't in this apartment for like 2 days, and all the stuff was locked up, and I went through whatever bags was unpacked, and I packed whatever I could find, and I took my ass to Mexico.
No, and I really feel like a lot of kids are going to be like that.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be like, I'm leaving, never coming back, I'm moving in my own apartment.
Right. I don't care if I got to work 7 jobs.
Yeah.
I will never ask you for anything.
Turn 18, I could work.
Right.
I don't need permission.
I don't need permission. You cannot tell me anything, because by law I am legal. Mm-hmm. And even if I gotta and my thing was, I don't care if I gotta rent a room or whatever. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna get the hell out of here. and no one's gonna stop me. It was one point that I was gonna move upstate, and
it was a lot of kids that you were dealing with.
Yes. So because there was times where I would come home from work and like, I would be so tired and my bed would be broken or it'd be messed up, or like at one point, like my little sister was stealing everything, like my clothes down to my pants, like everything. I was living out of suitcases, my stuff was locked up, and it was driving me crazy. And I was like, I gotta get out of here before I go crazy, because I'm gonna go crazy here. I'm gonna be in a mental institution, and I don't need to do that. And so when I see kids like that growing up, I'm like, yo, when they get the opportunity, they're gonna run. They're gonna run far, and it's gonna take them so long to even come back, to even check on you or their sibling. And I know it's harder for her because her sibling is like, or other people, some people's siblings are disrespectful.
Yeah.
So it's not even like I'm really gonna miss you.
No, that's a fact.
I miss my siblings. Like those are legitimately my babies. Like when I buy my house, my little brother is coming to move in with me. Like if he could live with me in here and sleep in the bed,
he definitely will.
He would. But I got one bedroom on purpose. So.
Mind you, her 1 bedroom is mad big, but she's like, it's a 1 bedroom, it's only for one person.
No, for real. I could have converted the living room, but I was not. I was.
Oh, you did could have.
I was not. I could have, and we could have still had a living room, and this could have been a bedroom, and I was not.
She wasn't with the shit.
I needed so much space.
Yeah.
I did. I needed a lot of space, and I know they didn't really understand, because there was a lot of pain I was enduring in that house, and I endured it for them. And it was a lot that I didn't talk about, but I was like, once I get the hell out of here, that's it. And I hate when I see other kids go through that, like, and that's why a lot of millennials don't want kids. Believe it or not,
that is the truth. That
They
is the
took
truth.
away their best years. So, and just because it happened to you generations and generations before doesn't mean that make it right. Because I also hear like the generation before say, oh, well, I had to take care of my siblings. I used to even hear my grandmother say how she had to take, because my grandmother was the oldest, how she had to take care of her siblings when her father died when she was 12. And you could tell there was a lot of bitterness there. And I'm like, that don't make it right just because you had to do it. You're supposed to make my life easier. As the generations go on, we're supposed to improve for the next generation. That's legit how it's supposed to work.
Not, just keep on going.
Yeah,
like,
I'm not going to keep the trauma
this
going.
Isn't a trauma tradition? That's what we do?
Right. The hell?
No. I hate it. Like, because I do see it firsthand, and I can't stand it.
Right.
It bothers me, especially being a child who had her teenage years.
Right.
Like, yes, I was still limited to certain things. Like, I couldn't go to parties and stuff when I was young.
Right.
But there was still things that I was able to do. I was outside with my friends during the summertime. We was playing baseball and shit in the parking lot by my house. Like, I still had that childhood.
Right.
And to watch it being taken away from somebody, it's just like,
because you can't get them years back.
Yeah, and there's no reason for it.
Right.
And then those parents are the parents who feel like, well, I take care of my kids. Just because you take care of them financially
does not mean you take care of your kids.
Yeah. Kids need emotional support. Mental, like, it's so much more that goes deeper into being a parent, like, than just financially taking care of them.
Right.
So if you feel like but then that's when you do have disrespectful kids. Because these little kids see it too, like, oh, mommy and daddy's never here.
Right.
Like, they can see who's raising them.
Right. They definitely can see who's raising them.
And it's just crazy. How do you have one kid, kind of put that one kid off to somebody else, and then years later have another kid and kind of do the same thing? Why the hell did you have another kid?
No, for real. For real. Because you didn't want kids. And cool, you didn't want kids. You did not want kids. It's okay. You're literally responsible for another human being. And it's okay if you really just don't have the mentality to have kids. I would rather you not have kids. That damage them.
Yes. Like, if you thought before the first one, like, ooh, I want to be a mom, because it is a thought. I want to be a mom, I want to be a mom, and then you notice, ooh, wait a minute.
You had that first kid, and you're like, okay.
I don't think this is what I really want to do with my life.
Let's take it slow. Let's slow it on down now.
It's understandable. There's a lot of people who have one and done.
They're one and done.
It's a lot because they realize, like, wait a minute, I'm not built for this, to do this multiple times. And that is okay.
That's a fact.
Because at least you won't be damaging the one that you have.
Exactly.
In some cases. Let me not, because you have some cases where you still
damage them.
Yeah. But
at least you ain't damaging multiples.
Yeah, like, you have one, you realize you don't want it, okay, you could raise that one to be the best kid ever, and then because at a certain age, like I said,
right, and they gonna go off, they're gonna get their own adventures and have their own things, and it's gonna be amazing. And then you have done your job as a mom or a dad, and it's awesome. And
honestly, you are technically the only child.
I'm the only child. Now, my mother wanted she did want another kid. And I told her, if you didn't have me as a twin, you don't get to have another. Like, the fuck? Why would you want another me? Like, am I not bougie enough? Am I not enough for you? I feel like I'm enough. You know? I just feel like
You're just made to be an only child.
I am one, like, and I feel so bad when people like, oh, you need to explain to my kid how happy it is to have siblings. And I'm like, I have it both ways. I hated sharing. When I had oh my God. So, like, my second mom is technically my cousin by blood. But I call her my mom because she helped raise me. Yes. And she was my favorite cousin growing up. I did not like nobody. Oh my God, I was a horrible person. I just did not like people. Like, my mother would give me to somebody and I would cry and she would take me right back. Like, I'm like, I don't like you. I don't touch. And I wasn't a cry baby. I just did not like humans. I don't want you to touch me. I don't know you. I didn't like you. But with Karima, I wanted to be where she was. I was literally up under her left cheek. Where she was at, I was at. She could fart and I would be right there in the butt. Like, right there. So she was like my second mother. So I got to see it, but I'm not gonna lie to you. I hated sharing a room. Mm-hmm. I hated sharing my clothes. I hated it all. I hated it so much. And coming from a space where I had my own room, because in my room I had my own room, my own game systems, my own TV. I had a computer. I had a laptop. I was it. Mm-hmm. And you want me to share? You telling me I can't get something because you gotta get something for them? I don't know what that means. And I can only get one thing, like, you know, when it was like 6 of us. So when you buy sneakers, all right, I'm gonna do the girls first, and I'm gonna do the boys. Next time I'm gonna do the boys first. I want more than one sneaker. I have this many clothes. I have blue clothes, regular.
That is exactly what it's like having a sibling. Do you feel like that switch is also what made you not want to have kids?
All of it.
Okay.
I'm not gonna lie, but even my mother told me when she was my age, she did not want kids at all. Mm-hmm. She said when she turned 30, that's when she was like, I guess I have one. And then she was like, oh, maybe I'll have another. And then she just never got around to having another. I knew my opinion didn't matter to her.
Yeah.
If she wanted to have it, she's gonna have it. But I just feel like I just don't want the responsibility of children. That is a lot of responsibility. The only reason I would have a child is because I'm technically an only child, mm-hmm. and my bloodline will die after me.
Yeah. So
my father doesn't have any other kids. So that's the only reason I would even consider. But I know that mentally, after a while, I'm not going to want to deal with the kid. And I say that in all honesty. If I have a child that is an extrovert, I am going to go crazy. My grandmother got lucky. My mother got lucky because I'm an introvert. I didn't need much loving or touching. Like, my parents are very touchy and feely. My grandmother is like me. She's cold. Honestly, she was worse than me. Okay? And with her, it was easy to raise me because I didn't want to be bothered. I was in my room. I had my Barbies. You didn't have to bother me. But I know God is, He's going to give me a child that I have to give a lot to, and I don't know if I have a lot to give.
He already punishes her by giving her friends that are...
And you know, right, all my friends have kids, and I love on them. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, I was just loving on Tasha kids the other day, and her son is actually an introvert. So, to even have him hug me is just like, oh, this is so lovely. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if I can do that consistently. Okay. That's the thing. Am I gonna be able to always want to deal with that? Okay. That's why I would have to mate with an extrovert.
Yeah, someone who can.
So he could pick up that slack when I'm just like, I need, because I feel like through the baby years I'm gonna be okay. It's when they start talking. Like through the baby years with my siblings, I was good. You know, they wasn't talking. They cry a little bit. That's fine. Hold you, feed you, change you, wash you, check, see if you got an ear infection, teeth coming in. That's not a problem. When they started talking
and don't shut up
and did not stop talking, it was like, oh my God, you just asked me this question 2 minutes ago. In a different, I just took that.
But what if you get a child that is a mix? Because I honestly feel like Amir is a mixture.
I don't want no mixture. Because the ambivert.
Because there's a lot of times where Amir wants to be alone.
That is true.
It's a lot.
Tell him, give me a minute.
Yeah, he'll be like, oh, if I come in the room and he's watching TV, he'd be like, you don't want to go back in there?
Yeah.
Like,
he wants his
before I give it to him, because I feel like he, what is it called?
He's an ambivert.
An ambivert? Mm-hmm. I feel like that's what he is. He's a mixture, because my child is very outgoing.
Yes.
He loves to talk to new kids.
Yes.
He's sitting
friendly.
Yeah. A kid walking by, hi, hello. Like,
right. He'll help you, especially if he's advanced in a lot of subjects. Yes. So if they not getting it, he'll help them with their stuff.
He's very, but then he has moments where it's just like,
right, I socialize enough.
Yeah, I'm done. So what if you get a child that is like that?
I know God.
Okay.
That's why God gave my extroverted parents an introvert. Like, and if we're going by generations, my grandma was an introvert, my mother's an extrovert, I'm an introvert.
Ooh. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
This is not gonna work out.
And I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna laugh. I love her.
I'm gonna be tired.
But, and I'm gonna help her. I'm gonna take them because I can deal with. I'm an extrovert.
Right.
So it's like, oh, you want to do something? What we doing?
Right. Like
what you want to do?
Like it's bedtime. You don't want to take a nap.
I get like that too. When the mere extrovert shows, I be like, okay.
All right. Whoa. Let's take a nap. Yeah, go to bed. Little do you know. All right.
But no, okay. So, what do you mentally? How do you feel like it affect? Like besides not wanting to have kids and needing to get away, what are other ways do you feel like having to always?
I think it made me. I guess mentally it made me. I was always responsible, but I guess it added more responsibility to me.
Okay.
Made me a little more mature.
Before
I really felt like I should have been mature.
Okay.
I felt like it was very overwhelming at times, because it's like it's hard to like. You gotta discipline them. You gotta be the mother. You gotta be the father. And how do I balance myself and y'all? I gotta make sure y'all schoolwork is up to par, and make sure that my schoolwork is up to par, because if I start failing, then I'm gonna get in trouble for failing. So it was a lot. It was a lot. And then sometimes, you know, they going through their teenage years too, while technically I'm going through my teenage years. So it's like they having these outbursts, and I'm like, oh my God. But what do you do? I'm a teenager. What do I do when a teenager is having an outburst?
Right, like what?
The teenager and the teenager are both, and I want to cry.
Now y'all both about to have outbursts,
and now we're about to just have outbursts together. Like, and depending on your teenager, like I will say, I don't know if Alexis watched this, but I say Alexis was my most difficult out of the teenagers because she's also a Pisces, so she's emotional as I am and as defensive as I am, and she also felt displaced because, like, she is technically the oldest,
yes,
but then I come along and then I'm technically the oldest, but she didn't want the responsibility of being the oldest. And also it was also the thing of, if you exclude me from the thing, Alexis is only the only dark-skinned one.
Okay, yes.
So she also had that complex of being the only dark-skinned one. I'm the oldest. I look exactly like my father. I mean, spitting image, body shape, everything like her father. Personality, these things. So she also felt like displaced. So it's like, how do you deal with that? She felt like jealousy towards me, and I never wanted to take it out on her because I understood it. But she used to give me hell on wheels. But I never wanted to take it out on her because I already knew her emotions. But then it was hard to explain to mommy, like, you know, this is how she feel, because at the time, mommy is going through trauma with her husband, and she's trying to figure out how to be a good mother and how to be the breadwinner and how to keep the father in the picture, because yes, women do it to keep their families together. I have, at the time, 5 kids with this man. We've been married for 20 years. What am I to do? They only know being in the house with those 2 people. So what are you to do? So now I'm dealing with the backlash from it. You got to deal with the trauma from it, and it's how do you deal with that? I wasn't as advanced as I am now to sit down and be like, you know, relax your emotions and things like that. And I used to call for like family meetings, and then, you know, mom wouldn't want to hear it because at that time she wasn't in a space to listen to your kids. Parents weren't in a space to, all right, your kids have a voice. So technically I was their voice. And then when I went off to college, that put more resentment towards me because it's like, how dare you leave us? And who's going to stick up for us now? We have nobody. She's going to put our father out. She's at work. And now you go off to college and you're talking about you not coming back.
Yeah.
So how do you deal with all of that trauma wrapped up in one? That's a lot to deal with. It was a lot for me as a teenager to deal with. Like, Jesus. It would be points where I would run away. And that's when Donovan came in because he lived up the block from me. And I used to be like,
I'm going.
Literally, I don't know how many times I have packed my shit in garbage bags and told him I'm not coming back. Work it out with God. I'm not coming back. Like, I cannot do this. And then they were like, my siblings are severely attached to me, so they would want to sleep in bed with me, like legitimately. Elijah would be across my forehead, Alicia on one side, Ramel on one side, like Alexis would be like across my thighs, like it would just. And then Alea came along, and what do you do? What do you do? And then I would feel guilty when I would leave them. So I would come back. Cause you know when I'm packing my shit to go, they begging me, don't leave, and I'm like, leave it. I can't. Get the fuck out of here. And I would go stay with Donovan, and technically I wasn't even supposed to be in the house, so he was like sneaking me in his house to stay overnight, sneaking me in his fucking house, cause I was like, you know, boys are allowed to have company, but a bitch, I'm not supposed to live there.
Right.
So, and then I would have to come back home, and then that's when I kind of like, my last year, I kind of like moved in with Najee. I was like living there, cause I was like, I need a break. And then I came back home, and then I went away to college, and then I came back home, and then I was like, I gotta leave because I'm gonna have a mental breakdown. I can't do this. It's too much. I have my own trauma I have to work on. I can't deal with y'all trauma and my trauma and everybody's trauma.
Right, because you did have your own personal situation
going on, and then you got aunts involved and everybody involved, and everybody feeling like I'm supposed to just do, and then I just shut down after that, like. And if you ask my aunt, you could tell I haven't spoke to them. I didn't speak to them for years. For years, I did not speak to them. Like, once I moved in this apartment, fuck everybody, including favorite cousins, all that.
No,
fuck
seriously.
I shut everybody out.
It was one point where she wasn't going to any family functions. I think recently, within like the last few years, you started picking back up with it.
Like, even I spoke to like one of my aunts. It's like one of my mom's favorite like cousins. And she was like, you know, I apologize for anything I ever did to you, anything I ever said to you, because I was not fucking with them. You gonna cause me trauma and feel like I'm supposed to come around? Fuck you. I was always different from other family members. From young, I would cut people off. I cut my godmother off for talking shit about my mother, and everybody was up in arms about it. How could you? You're 12. The fuck you know about cutting people off? Don't talk shit to me about my mother. It's my mother.
Right. And I'm kind of happy, like, you know, a lot of us are just now at our grown ass age realizing like family or not, like if you hurt me, I can cut you off.
Right.
So for you to be so young and mentally be able to do that, and I say this about Amir too, him mentally being able to express himself a certain way at the age he is, that's a beautiful thing, and it's a mature thing. And yeah, family members probably looked at you like, what?
Oh yeah, they treated me bad. Especially when I uninvited my Aunt Wanda to my 8th grade graduation because she was talking mad shit about me. I uninvited her to my 8th grade graduation, and the whole family did not come. That's cool.
Right. I just feel like being able to do that, a lot of families tend to forget, like, toxic is toxic. If you're not good for me, you're not good for me.
You're not good for me. I'm going to invite you somewhere that's supposed to be happy for me after you just talking mad shit about me.
Yeah, like, why would I want you there?
I don't want you there.
But then now I got to play fake like I like you.
Yeah, right. No, I don't. I don't like you right now. I want space from you. I don't like you right now. I don't feel like you need to be enjoying a moment with me.
Right. I recently told my cousins this, because we was talking about other cousins that we all don't talk to, honestly. Right. And she was like, why you talking like you could just cut us off? And I was like, I can. Right. Like, I just don't. I was like, with y'all, since we have a stronger bond, I tend to just take space away from y'all.
Right.
And one of the cousins that was on the phone, I do it with her sometimes very often, right? Because there's certain little things that really tick me off sometimes. So I'm like, okay, I just need some space. I don't make it an issue, right? I just personally take my space away from you. I don't have to announce it. I don't have to be like, well, I don't want to talk to you. I don't have to do none of that. I literally
take space.
I might not talk to you for a week. You might call me and now I'm okay. I took my space from you.
Right.
So family, I hate when family be like, oh, family is family. No, if you're bad for me, you're bad for me.
You're bad for me, baby.
Mother, father, auntie, cousin, doesn't matter.
Whoever, and I will determine if I'm gonna cut you off completely or if I'm just gonna take some space from you. Mm-hmm. And it'll be short amount of space or long extended space.
Yes, I've taken months.
Yeah.
Away from a certain aunt, like, and now it's like, okay, we all right. Like,
right. But I need you to see that I'm not playing. Yeah. You're not gonna come in here and mess with my mental because that's what your generation is used to. Mm-hmm. That's what you guys are used to. And I think with my family, what they fail to realize is technically I am an only child.
Yeah.
So I am used to being alone.
Mm-hmm.
I do not care if you do not speak to me.
Honestly, she might not want you to.
I know, for real. I do not care. I don't care. So if you say, oh, yeah, she thinks she grown, I don't care. And then, you know, when you're younger, it's hard for you to express yourself because it's like, if I don't listen to you, I'm going to be homeless.
Right.
That's what they hated about me because I did not care. I've been homeless. Bro, I would pack my shit and go sleep on Central Park. I do not.
Wish she lived right there.
Care. I remember one time my aunt was like, "Oh, you're going to live back down south with your grandmother." I looked her dead in her face and said, "I want to move." What do you not? I never even wanted to move back to New York. I was forced to move back to New York. I never even wanted to move back to New York.
No, that's what she wanted.
I was forced to
here, but like that's what she wanted.
So when you telling me that, it's like, okay, great. I'll go back to New York, and I mean down South Carolina, where I'm from, and I have my own room, and I will go back to living a regular life, and I'll be able to drive a car and get a job, and my life will probably be more advanced than it is now being in New York.
Yeah.
So you're not punishing me. You're telling me I'm gonna put you back down south, but you're removing me from a toxic environment to go back into an environment where I'm gonna have space and peace. Mm-hmm. Because it was just me and my grandmother. And yeah, my grandmother was very kind of abusive, but I could go in my room, lock the door, and call it a day. She called myself, I called myself, and that was it. We had space. Mm-hmm. I don't have no space in that house. I shared a room with 2 other people. Yeah. I don't have space. So you're not telling me anything. I'm doing y'all a favor. These is not my kids. Mm-hmm. So y'all all coming, and that's one thing I hated about my New York family. Because once something happened, they would tell the whole family, and then everybody want to come over. And Chester, I don't need all y'all in my face because y'all don't even know the truth.
Especially with having an introverted child.
Right. You got all these people jumping on me.
Yeah. Because like I said, my son, he's both, I keep forgetting the term for it.
Ambivert.
Yeah, mm-hmm. He's, when it's too many of us saying something to him, he shuts down.
That's me.
And I mentioned before, he has anxiety, and there's a lot of times where I'm like, wait, y'all, I have to, like, I tell people, wait,
right.
Sometimes, yes, like, I'm quick to say something to my son, so I'm quick to do it, and with somebody else being quick, sometimes we don't realize that we're doing it at the same time.
Mm-hmm. It's overloading.
Yeah, so I can only imagine, like, people coming over to do it. It's like, I don't need y'all. Like,
I don't need all y'all.
Yeah, like, I already did it.
I did it. But my thing is, I would get in trouble for things that were in the right. So, you all coming over because the person who called you while they were in their emotions. They didn't know the whole story, but they're going to react off one part of the story. So now everybody's coming over jumping on me, and I'm like,
why everybody got to come over anyway?
Right.
Like,
y'all coming over for what? She can't handle herself?
Yeah, like she already.
You would have thought I'd beat her up in there. I can't beat her.
She probably beat you up in there.
I can't beat her. And that was also my problem. Like, oh my God, I'm getting so emotional. So they would like do things, and they would never tell the full side of the story. So they would tell, like, if I did something bad, but they would never tell how I would try to commit suicide. They would never tell how I would be sad, how I would be crying. They would never tell all of it. Mm-hmm. And that was always my problem. So you coming over here, you guys are jumping on me, and you're doing all this, but y'all never tell the full story. And that's why I just cut everybody off. Everybody got cut off. I didn't care about an aunt, a cousin, nobody. I said, y'all come over here, but nobody apologized that I got sexually assaulted. Nobody said nothing about that. Mm-hmm. Nobody apologized when the husband was in there beating my ass. ass. Nobody said nothing about that. None of y'all came over there to defend me for that. But y'all come over here because someone is in their emotions and they don't tell you a whole story. But I'm taking care of your kids. And I'm giving up my life for your kids. But nobody, it's a thankless job. And that's why I say stop putting all that pressure on your oldest, because it's a thankless job.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're going to grow up and they're going to leave and you're never going to see them again. You're never going to hear from them again. And when they become successful, you're never even going to be able to be like, I was a part of that. I'm the reason they're successful. I gave my child health and wealth. Mm-hmm. You didn't give them nothing but trauma and grief. And they had to fight through the trauma and grief to become successful. Why?
Mm-hmm.
For what? For what?
Because you think that they're just to do what you want to do.
Right, because you had them, because you carried them. That's your job. You decided to have kids. You decided to have children. So I'm supposed to pay you back because you had me. I didn't ask to be here. So this is how I pay you back by watching this kid all the time. Mm-hmm. All the time. And I don't get to have a child, but you get to go out and party with your friends. That's not cool. Y'all gotta think about that sometimes. Think about it from your kid's perspective. They're literally trying to tell you something and you guys are not listening. Y'all not listening. Y'all gotta listen.
I'm sorry, y'all. I'm a little bothered by her being so emotional. My friend don't get emotional, y'all. This is rare. So to see this pain come out, I'm a little bothered too because like I said, I watch it firsthand. I would hate for these emotions to be in the person that I'm close to.
It's like it's emotions that you carry for years. Because these things happen through my teenage years and adult years, and you just push them to the side like, fuck it. But after a while, it's just be like, bro, it's enough is enough. Mm-hmm. Bro.
Yeah. And it sucks because she has such a big family, so being like this, or even when she took the time away, it's like, why would you want to be away? You know, it's questions. Because even with me, I have a big family, and it's just like, why would you want to be away?
Right.
And it sucks, kind of. Like, look at her. Like, it sucks. That even at her age now, that these emotions still come up because they weren't acknowledged. So that, which means she never had time to heal from them. And that comes from with all of us. If nobody acknowledged the problem, especially the people who are causing the problem, you are never fully going to heal from that problem. Nia, I'm sorry, baby. I'm sorry. I just wish parents would get better at that, like understanding and acknowledging what they're doing to their kids.
Definitely.
And I notice with a lot of kids, parents now, like around our age, we do that. Yeah. A lot of us.
Yeah.
And I love seeing it.
We definitely do.
We are more so realizing that, we know we have feelings, so it's like, wait, our kids have feelings.
These little people have feelings. They have feelings.
Right, no matter how old they are, they have feelings. And I personally think I'm like this because my mom, when I was younger, she never made me feel as if I didn't have feelings.
Right.
It was like other family members that would be like, because that's your aunt, that's your dad, don't be. And it's like, I don't mean shit.
Because they got that title.
Yeah. My mother personally never made me feel that way.
Right.
Even when I got older and I told her certain things, she was like, I didn't know this was happening, but I'm sorry.
Right.
Like, so I think that's why it's a little more easier for me to do it with Amir.
Exactly.
But even with my son's father, there's certain little things that I'm teaching him when it comes to Amir. Because he's so used to how his parents were.
Exactly.
And how his father, specifically because he has a son, how his father was with him.
Right.
We recently, before we go, I recently had to show my child's father, listen, I have to look at Amir when he's going through something or he's acting out in any way. I have to look at it as maybe he's kind of slightly having an anxiety attack.
Right.
And his thing was that it can't always be that. And I'm like, you're right.
Right.
but I have to treat it as if it's that until I can decipher the difference.
Right, exactly.
Amir was going through it one day, and his father was yelling at him, which of course made it worse because he was legit going through something.
Okay.
And he got mad about, I don't know if y'all know the game Cuber. It's some little orange thing. We was watching Pixels. And Amir, he was just like, I wish he was real. And he started crying. Aww. And his father, stop crying. Don't do that. You're crying for nothing. Yelling. And I'm like, wait, Ernest. So I was able to, I learned over the years, I had to learn how to handle his anxiety.
Right.
I distracted him. But with the topic of what he was mad about.
Right.
It's, as a therapist and a psychiatrist, you know certain methods. I was like, what else do you wish it was real? And I made it fun for him to think about.
Exactly, instead of him feeling sad.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna lie, his father, when he seen what I did, he even apologized to Amir. Was like, I'll try to have a better understanding. We talked about it. He was like, what you did was amazing. Parents, pay attention to your kids, their feelings, everything. Say I'm sorry. You don't have to be so hard because you're the parent.
No, for real. For real. Just because you're the parent doesn't mean that you're right. I want you guys to really understand and know that you're not always right. Your children can teach you a lot. Your children can teach you to be soft. And some of you guys have children with big emotions. And when I say big emotions, I mean they'll cry and they'll scream and they'll work themselves up so much that they'll end up getting an asthma attack. You guys have to know how to redirect them.
Yep.
Do not yell. Do not meet anxiety with anger. That is only going to make it worse.
That's it. And now you're being a child because you feel like they were being disrespectful and disobeying you, and not realizing that it's so much deeper than that. And that was me. And that's why I do different with Amir. I was a child with anxiety, and yes, I know a lot of our older generation didn't understand anxiety. It wasn't deemed as a mental disability. It's barely deemed as a mental disability now. I was a child that used to get yelled at for my emotions and what I was going through, and my parents didn't realize, yo, she's having an anxiety attack.
Right. Like, I'm working myself up and my brain is in overwork. So I need you to help me relax. Take it back. Like
and you know what's crazy? It caused me to have asthma as an adult. I didn't have it as a child.
Same here.
But working myself up so much because I'm getting yelled at for not even really understanding what's going on with my body.
Right.
It caused now as an adult I have asthma. Why?
I have asthma as well.
Like, and that's crazy. And I used to my chest used to hurt so bad, and we would go get checked out and everything, and they would be like, nothing's wrong. That was me developing asthma.
Same here.
So please, parents, your oldest, you are mentally ruining your kids when you have them basically raising your younger kids. If it's not for work, or you're literally always home and you want to go out sometimes, stop having that oldest one babysit. It's not their responsibility. You had them.
Yes.
You are the parent. There's no reason why they have to take on that role. No. Or feel like they're taking up the role
all the time.
Yeah, of the parent all the time.
Like, come on now.
That's where it becomes an issue.
And then they're not having no time for themselves. Please be considerate of your children.
Yes.
It's so simple. It really is. It could be so
Because same way you want to go out, they want to go out, but they are the one who really don't have that responsibility. Right. You are.
Exactly. And they're the one that's going through puberty. Please also remember that.
Which
emotions are big. Please.
Plain and simple. Guys, as y'all know, we are here every Thursday. If there's anything that y'all want to hear our opinions on, comment.
Yes.
Let us know. We talk about everything.
Literally.
Nia, say your line, girl.
So like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Share it, comment, and all your friends. And thank you guys for always rocking with us.
Bye, guys.